1. The Fat Kid. I escaped to Mom's Spanish gossip magazines and the Oprah Winfrey Show. I grew up with my mom, dad, maternal grandparents, and little sister in a super suburban neighborhood of Miami called Westchester. Everyone who lived there was the same. The families on both sides of the block were Cuban, and mine was just like all the others. The single-story house we lived in looked the same as all the others, too, aside from the fact that we didn't have a pool, and my bedroom didn't have any windows. Back then, my name was Mario Lavandeira, born Mario Armando Lavandeira Jr., though I was also known as the Fat Kid. That's what everyone called me after a couple kids from school started to sneak up behind me and give me embarrassing back fat pinches, laughing at me. Either that or they'd make fun of me in other ways. But before I get into all that, I need to tell you about the first few years of my life, because they were actually pretty good. And above all, totally carefree. A few blocks from where I lived, there was a place called La Perla Supermarket. I loved going there with my mom, Teresita, and always used to grab a bite to eat in the bakery while she shopped. Before I was born, she actually worked there as a cashier, and that's how she met my dad, Mario, though everyone called him Mandy, short for his middle name, Armando. They had both moved from Cuba in the late 1960s, back when it was still legal to do so. My mom's dad used to own a couple of butcher shops in Havana, but when the Castro regime took over, the government confiscated all private businesses and brought them under state control. So he decided to try to create a better life for himself and his family in America. Virtually all of my mom and dad's relatives did the same. It's truly tremendous what the Cuban community managed to accomplish in Miami. In the mid-1970s, while Mom worked at La Perla, Dad and his parents were living in a rented apartment right down the street, and she would see him almost every day when he went in to buy coffee. Mom was only 16 at the time, Dad 28, but he was still living at home, which wasn't unusual for a single Latino man back then. It was 4 years before they got married, but just 2 years after that, on March 23rd, 1978, I was born. At the time, we were living in a 2-room apartment on Southwest 12th Avenue in Little Havana. It was a predominantly low-income neighborhood, but there was a great sense of community there, mostly because there was one major thing binding us all together: our culture. Everybody knew everybody, and my mom's parents, Felipe and Elia, lived only a short walk from our apartment. I loved my grandparents dearly. Most of all, I loved my abuelo, grandfather, who was a very affectionate man and almost acted like a second father when Dad was busy working. Whenever they came over to our place, I put on shows just for him, dancing and goofing around, and he always used to encourage me. Mom stopped working pretty soon after I was born because Dad wanted her to stay home with me. She was happy to do it, but she was never really a domestic person. In fact, my father was the one who cooked for us when he got home from work. He made the best Cuban food in the world. For the holidays, we would always have Cuban-style pork, and during the week, it was usually rice and beans, breaded beef, or some other variety of meat. While Dad took care of the cooking, Mom used to talk on the phone with her friends. She loved to gossip and would talk about anything and anyone, about our family,